Good evening, welcome to ITV News. This is Friday night's calendar.
Here are tonight's main stories.
The long road home. Snow causes chaos on the roads, leaving dozens of drivers stranded on a major motorway.
A very different picture this evening on the UK's highest motorway to the night that left some drivers stranded for up to 11 hours.
There must have been between 15 and 20 Arctic lorries that had jackknifed in various positions on the hill.
Here in the Peak District, spectacular views, but down below, a day of disruption.
Working from home has been the order of the day in Wensleydale after a huge dumping of snow overnight.
People go around, check on the neighbour, see if there's anything they need. Everybody looks after everybody else.
But under those beautiful blue skies, as we head through into tonight and the winds start to drop out, additional wintry hazards as we head into the weekend, and I'll have all the detail a little later on.
We'll have details of which sporting fixtures are and aren't going ahead, and
From Strictly to a stage near you, Giovanni Panici talks to us about bringing his tour to Yorkshire.
well, we were warned that it was coming, and when the snow did fall overnight, it covered huge swathes of our region, caused chaos on the road and rail networks, and forced over 1,000 schools to close their doors.
Tonight on Calendar, we're in West Yorkshire to see how the roads are coping ahead of another big freeze tonight. And we're live in the Peak District.
Plus, we'll head into the heart of the Yorkshire Dales to see some of those picture postcard scenes.
So first to the M62 for more on the motorists who were left stranded last night, some for as long as 11 hours. Michael Billington is at Ainley Top for us. Good evening, Michael. What's it like there now?
Well, Ian, what a difference a day makes. Just 24 hours ago, we were talking about those amber weather warnings that brought with them a potential risk to life. And look at it now. Glorious, bright winter sunshine over a blanket of snow. Stunning for anybody that was able to enjoy it safely today. But it was a very different story overnight and into this morning for those on the rails and runways that were disrupted by hours of disruptive weather. Icy gridlock in the small hours as the Arctic blast brought snow and sub-zero temperatures to England's highest motorway. Dozens of lorries and cars stranded on the M62 and surrounding routes.
So this lorry here has jackknifed.
It meant Kelly Marie Prentice's 2.5-hour journey back from Manchester to Lincoln in the end took 11 hours.
There must have been between 15 and 20 Arctic lorries that had jackknifed in various positions on the hill, which had caused other issues with cars and vans that had got stuck or crashed. And so it was like a slalom course trying to get round it.
She and her teenage son facing treacherous conditions as they made the difficult drive home.
People were starting to slip and slide because of the debris everywhere. They were just sort of weaving in and out. So it did feel quite dangerous and stressful to try and navigate that.
Home Valley and Calder Valley Mountain Rescue teams joined the efforts alongside police and highways officers to try and clear vehicles as best they could. But in daylight, many remain, littering the highest routes above Huddersfield as drivers simply abandoned efforts to try and avoid the blockage on the motorway.
We had a stranded vehicle with a lady who was insulin dependent, so we needed to get to her as a priority. We also had a pickup truck that had come off the road with 4 passengers. And in the midst of that, we also had a job coming from Yorkshire Ambulance Service to a lady in Honley that had chest pains that needed transport into the hospital.
On other routes, the snow and ice sent vehicles careering out of control, blocking the path of a gritter here in Almondbury. Today, National Highways said too many drivers ignored the warnings to avoid non-essential journeys, insisting it threw everything at keeping traffic moving.
We took the decision overnight to close some lanes on the M62 to try and focus traffic into 1 or 2 lanes. We do find when people do drive under the red X, they then block those lanes, which delays the police and our response, which ultimately causes the incident to be there for longer.
And sunrise brought with it little respite from the freezing weather. Delays at our region's biggest airport, Leeds Bradford, as snow brought a rude awakening for those holidaymakers who were able to land. Now the focus returns to the roads with a yellow warning for ice overnight.
Obviously, as the snow thaws, it becomes passable during the day, but as it cools off into the evening, there could quite possibly lots of sheets of black ice out there, which will make it extremely dangerous on the roads. And obviously, we'd urge people to stay at home if at all possible, because we don't want essentially a repeat of last night's incident.
They ain't going anywhere for a while.
A bitter start to the spring, then bringing considerable disruption to our region's transport network. So there's the rub after this picturesque wintry day. That sunshine has helped to thaw some of the snow that came down last night. But as the temperatures plummet again tonight, potentially down to -10, the coldest night of the year so far, then a lot of that meltwater will start to freeze. And so if anybody thought that this latest icy blast was almost over, well, there's a little more to contend with just yet.
Michael at Ainley Top, thank you very much and have a safe journey back home. Well, throughout the day, the weather has become more forgiving, thankfully. School was out for many and children were quick to make the most of the white stuff, as were the grown-ups too. Well, Katie Oscroft has spent the day in the Peak District. Hello, Katie. What's the picture been like there today?
Well, Ian, just look at this incredible view over here as the sun sets over the Hope Valley. It's really hard to picture the disruption that the snow causes in the villages down below me when you look at it from above. Now, I have spent the day in Hathersage, where some people spent last night unexpectedly. Many had to change their plans, no work, no school. Others found an alternative way to get about. The roads around here have at best been tricky and often impassable. The most beautiful views of the Peak District, but this blanket of snow means it's hard to get in or out, unless you travel by different means. It's not often Alex and James get to ski in March just outside Sheffield.
It feels like Alps in the spring. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's really nice, really enjoyable.
How often do you get to do that, just outside Sheffield?
Not very often. It's a rarity.
Yeah, we try and get out as much as we can when any opportunity if there's snow, but it's pretty impressive at the moment with the amount of snow we've had over the past 24 hours.
There are other ways of getting about too.
It makes it easy because it's electric, so yeah, it's like really, helps pulling you through the snow. And I've come from Drumfield.
I've been here 30 years, never seen this much snow.
I just like it. No school?
No.
But talk to the Texans holidaying in Hathersage and they're really not sure what the fuss is about.
It's not that bad. It's just a drizzle. We've been out walking up to Robin's Cave and Little John's gravesite. Yeah, checked out the church. It was very nice.
Do you think we overreact when we get a bit of snow? You're used to this, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. As much noise as we've heard on the radio, this is just a dusting. You guys, this is fine.
You got this.
Yeah, absolutely.
People who live here have made the most of being stuck, but the problem with getting out of a village like Hathersage is that every route is up and the hills around here are steep. Staff and customers at the George had a sleepover in comfort.
They've stayed over again in room 12.
As last night's snow cut off their routes home.
You can go either straight out of Hathersage that way or towards Grindleford that way. So I went for that way and then it was just way worse once you start climbing up the hill out. The snow's just everywhere and I had to turn around and come back. I nearly got stuck. So then I came back here and stayed here.
Yes!
School's out too, but the white stuff keeps the children entertained.
Not many people can get to work in Sheffield or Manchester or anything, so everyone stays in the village. It's almost sort of like lockdown again, sort of, but it's really good because it's a nice community spirit. Everyone just comes out for a drink. It's good fun. It's really good fun.
These alpine scenes won't last, but people in Hathersage have made the most of being cut off. Well, you'll be glad to hear that our American friends you heard from there are now well on their way to their next destination. Now, the roads have improved here a little bit during today, but they're very hilly and they're narrow. And as you heard Michael say, that the temperatures really are going to drop, so they're going to become treacherous in a different way. Some motorists have been getting stuck. They're being warned to take extra care as they've been driving out, try to see the best views. But for now, the best way to enjoy this spectacular scenery is on foot.
OK, Katie, thank you very much indeed, and what a great scene it is behind you there. Thank you very much.
Absolutely stunning sunset, wasn't it?
Looks like it's on another planet.
Yeah, gorgeous. Well, for people living in a beautiful part of the Yorkshire Dales, the snowfall overnight led to a play day for many.
Yes, in some parts they experienced 3-foot snowdrifts, closing schools, community centres and making many roads impassable.
Now, they're made of hardest stuff in that they're haws. Take a look at this, shared by the Yorkshire Dales National Park Authority from the Dales Countryside Museum. Now, that's snow. This was the scene there in the 1940s, and Matt Price has been back to find out how they got on today.
It is 6:30 in Hawes. Wow. We've had snow.
High up in the hills of the Yorkshire Dales, and part of the appeal is being cut off from the crowds. But when the weather hits Wensleydale, it hits hard. People like Pete have been ploughing local roads, clearing the snow since 4 o'clock this morning.
When you get up higher altitude, it's blowing a lot and it's bad visibility. And
he's been battling the drifts, doing what he can to keep his hometown of Hawes open for business.
I've seen it a lot worse than this, yeah. This has been a very kind winter so far. A bit of frost, but you can expect it.
Parents expected the local primary school to close, and they were right. A snow day for dozens of the town's children, not the only ones trying to keep warm. Here, there is a real community spirit, a sense of people coming together. Richard has been running the local store for 40 years, and people have been stocking up.
As soon as there's a forecast, they start preparing, so they come in, they'll buy milk, logs, sticks, bread. People go around, check on the neighbour, see if there's anything they need. If they're coming out, they'll get it for them. So everybody looks after everybody else.
But even in an area used to wintry weather, the cost of living crisis bites.
And this is the food pantry here. And we do keep stocking up.
A special warm hub has been put on by volunteers like Alison.
That door is open. If somebody comes in and says, Alison, any chance of a brew, then definitely there will be a brew.
That's, of course, if they can dig themselves out.
I will come and I will put on the fire, as you can see, in another radiator to make sure it's nice and warm. But really, it's just a question of coming in, sitting down, being comfortable, have a cup of tea, have a chat.
The heavy snow might mean some people are cut off, with working from home being the order of the day here in Wensleydale. But you cannot get away from how picturesque it is with drifts over the Yorkshire Dales. Just take a look at this. A picture postcard from the people of God's own county. They're well rehearsed in dealing with this weather, well practised in supporting one another too. Matt Price, ITV News in Hawes in the Yorkshire Dales.
Well, some people might not like the snow, might they, Tina? But actually, when you see the pictures like that, then it makes it all worthwhile.
Gorgeous, beautiful, yeah.
Now, Kerry will be here before the end of the programme for all the important weekend weather forecast. Of course, is there more snow to come? Plus, what happened next? Why a wintry walk in the heart of the Yorkshire Dales will be one of this couple will never forget.
Well, now it's not just the weather that's been causing disruption on the region's roads today. The M1 was closed for several hours after a crane caught fire on the northbound carriageway. It broke out just after 1 o'clock this afternoon between junctions 30 and 31 near Sheffield. The clean-up operation saw 4-mile queues, but the road has now reopened.
Police in Leeds have made 2 arrests after an incident in Hare Hills in which a group of men appeared to be attacking each other with machetes. A male aged 15 and another aged 16 have been arrested on suspicion of a fray following the incident, which happened on Roundhay Road on Tuesday afternoon. Police are reassuring the public that substantial inquiries into the disturbance are ongoing. Now, the ITV Evening News continues here at 6:30. Here's a look at what's happening with Lucrezia Millarini.
Coming up, the PM in Paris with a £500 million pledge. Rishi Sunak met the French president committing almost £500 million for a migrant detention centre. We'll ask whether that will stop these small boat crossings. Also ahead, how heavy snow brought roads to a standstill, shut schools and left people without power. We'll have the latest. And could Irish films dominate at this year's Oscars? All the build-up from Hollywood ahead of Sunday night's ceremony. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Thanks, Lucrezia. Well, some sport now and the race against time to clear the way for tonight's Super League games.
Zero Accounting Software sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Well, Johnny's with us this evening. Good evening, Johnny. I mean, it's incredible to think there's any sport taking place today after what's happened over the last 24 hours. And I know that Super League staff have had a job on their hands.
Yes, they have indeed. I don't know about you, but I struggled to get out my front door for snow this morning. Well, imagine having to clear a full-size rugby pitch and hundreds of parking spaces too. Well, that was the task that faced staff at Headingley this morning. As you can see, they had 7.5 centimetres of snow on the pitch. Lots of elbow grease went into clearing that and the stadium for Leeds Rhinos' tie with Wakefield Trinity. And the good news is that game is on. Similarly, Huddersfield Giants against Castleford Tigers will go ahead at the John Smith Stadium later. It's Cass's first game since head coach Lee Radford left. A bonus for fans tonight there, that they'll be eligible for a free hot drink once they're inside the stadium, and I think they'll probably need it as well.
Nice. I think they will, and we've got a weekend of football action as well, Johnny. Any news on that yet?
Yes, there are no games involving our teams tonight, but there is a full round of fixtures tomorrow, and one of those has already been called off. That's because this was the pitch at Mansfield's One Call Stadium this morning ahead of Saturday's tie with Leyton Orient. The club said they wanted to act early to give fans plenty of notice. Elsewhere, Leeds United head coach Javi Gracia has called on the club's fans to brave the cold tomorrow as they try to win a second home game on the bounce. Only goal difference separates the Whites from a place in the Premier League relegation zone ahead of their match against Brighton, and it's hoped a fiery atmosphere at Elland Road can help them secure some much-needed points.
They helped us in the last home game. In my opinion, was the difference to be able to win the game, and I expect the same for the next game.
And it's congratulations to England footballer Beth Mead, who's been given the freedom of the Borough of Scarborough. The Lioness, who's from Hinderwell near Whitby, missed out on the honour last year, but a campaign to urge the local council to reconsider has been successful. And if you're planning to go to any men's or women's games this weekend, it's probably best to check ahead because there could be some more postponements on the way.
Fantastic, thank you very much. I can tell it's been snowing because you're wearing your woolly pulley there.
Slightly overdressed.
You look lovely.
Very smart.
Also looking lovely is Kerry, who is in the studio with us. Kerry, oh, what a day.
What a day, what a week. But this afternoon, against that blue sky, absolutely gorgeous. We've had some fantastic shots from around the region. Check out this bird's eye view over Huddersfield. A big thank you to Connor for sending this shot and this shot. Beautiful snow-covered land there and the blue sky for the afternoon. I think we can also see some shots from Ribblehead earlier on today. Blue sky, absolutely gorgeous. Just everyone just getting on about their business. We had that cold northerly wind. It did feel bitterly cold, felt about 0, even though it got to around 5 or 6 Celsius. But that was, of course, all before or all after the drama that we had first thing this morning. But it didn't snow everywhere. We had a little dusting in York first thing this morning. And also out towards the coast, we had some snow showers that mostly stayed off the east coast. So a big thank you to Beverly for this one, and also I think this one's actually from Angie. Probably got them mixed up. But yeah, they're just so pakey, you can see them snow. They've asked if it's snow. It's definitely a snow shower. But we also had some fun, didn't we? This was Deep Car in Sheffield. Adele Tracy's husband spent 5 hours building this igloo for the 2 kids, but we think he's a bit happy. We're not sure. I don't know. Probably just a bit intimidated. But it was Sheffield that had the wowzer by this morning. Lots and lots of pictures. 14 inches, 35 centimetres over the Rivlin Valley. A big thank you to Wendy Scott. And check this out. Again, Gleedless in Sheffield. Kerry Allen almost had to dig her way out of her garden first thing this morning. Just short of 17 inches. That's 43 centimetres. And of course, the amber weather warning was for between 30 and 40 centimetres of of snow last night, and of course it did come. This was from Sheffield Weathercam. This was 2010. A lot of comparisons about a very wintry spell we had in 2010, and a very similar shot from Sheffield Weathercam first thing this morning. So that's, yeah, pretty similar. I don't know which one's beaten it, but we're very close to that 2010. And during the course of Sheffield, and this morning certainly, Weston Park had its snowiest March day, 30 centimetres, and that beat the previous record, 18th of March 1979. Records began 1882.
Kerry, thank you. We'll have the full forecast as usual at the end
Ice
of
is the
the
weather
programme.
word, I promise.
Ice is the word.
Now, the snow may have put paid to a lot of people's plans last night, but it didn't stop a certain Strictly star shimmying his way into the region.
Steady
all
on.
hands. All hands.
Yes, the hit show's former champion Giovanni Panici danced into York with his own production Made in Italy, displaying all the Latin flair that has made him so very popular.
And with more shows in Yorkshire in the coming months, he's making himself at home here. Natalie Bour's been to meet him.
Fresh from the latest series of Strictly Come Dancing, Giovanni Panici is hitting the dance floor once again for a tour full of spectacular moves, dramatic lifts, and of course, plenty of sequins.
We have a lot of things going on in the show, obviously dancing, but I do sing. There's a bit of comedy involved, audience participation, and I'm surrounded of incredible talent on stage. So I think it's a good show to come and watch.
I didn't know you could sing.
It happened once last year. I started to do it and people loved it. And this year I'm doing a Nessun Dorma, which is opera. Yeah, it's an operatic song.
Okay, so you didn't go for anything easy?
No, God, no. You know, it's one of those things, if you do it, you have to do properly. I always say that if you do something, you have to go for it. And I love opera, a little bit opera, me.
And you're going on tour as well later in the year with your good friend Anton de Beck.
I can't wait for that. This is our third year we are on tour together, and it doesn't even feel like a job, to be honest. It's just a good time with my good friend, and the show is great as well. Again, we have a lot of incredible talent as well. So yeah, I can't wait for that.
And you joined Strictly in 2015, so do you still enjoy it as much as you did when you first started?
I would say even more than before, to be honest, because obviously now I'm not anymore the newbie, you know, so I know exactly what everything works, how it works. So it's basically go back with my family and do the job that I love to do, really.
And you, of course, won the Glitterball trophy. What was that like?
Oh, insane. You know, it was the most beautiful experience of my life. And it wasn't just winning the Glitterball, it was just the whole process with Rose. You know, we changed people's life, and this is the most rewarding thing you can ask for, really.
So if you want the truth.
And that silent dance went on to win a BAFTA. That must have been incredible.
It was extraordinary, in my opinion. Again, wasn't just the dance himself, the steps, was the concept of it. I'm very, very proud of what we achieved, me and Rose.
Do you ever wake up and think, I can't be bothered to dance today?
No, dance is my life. Dance is everything I know, really. I started when I was 7 years old, so I've been doing this for my life, really. So I can't see a day of my life without dancing, really.
Shield your eyes, Tina Gelder. I tell you what, Kerry and you and everyone else in the studio is all perked up when Giovanni came on there.
Well, he's certainly easy on the eye, isn't he? But I don't think the weather is going to be easy over the next few days. Here's Kerry.
Good visibility on the horizon. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello again. So certainly for western parts of the region, we've just experienced a fairly significant snow event. Very troublesome first thing this morning. A lot of snow cover, inches, and as we head through into the afternoon, a bit more in the way of sunshine. So where does that leave us with those clear skies as we head deeper into tonight? Well, the snow continued to journey its way south and eastwards this morning, and those clearer skies nudging in from the north with just some scattered showers to eastern parts. But we look to the southwest for this system heading towards us tomorrow evening, and in between,
cold and clear conditions overnight tonight. So a widespread hard frost as the winds drop out and the sky is clear. Could even see some freezing fog patches over our current snow cover, and here it could get down to -10 Celsius. But the real risk and warning overnight tonight is for icy stretches as we head towards dawn. 6:32 and 2 minutes past 6 are your sun times as we head into Saturday. Bitterly cold start tomorrow, widespread frost, the risk of some ice, but actually a wonderful dose of sunshine for the first half of the day. But as we head towards the afternoon, high cloud starts to build, and then as we head into the evening time, into that colder air, this area of rain starts to nudge its way in. On the leading edge, at least for an hour or two, we could see further snow cover, especially over higher ground, before it starts to push its way north and eastwards into the second half of Sunday. Behind that could even be some freezing rain for a time, but it does improve significantly in terms of temperatures as we head into Sunday. So Sunday, milder, but there will be a risk of some rain, goes downhill during the course of the day, and then for Monday, wet and windy and turning a bit colder by Tuesday.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
So there you go, not out of the wintry woods just yet, but I would just like to say a big thank you for the photos today. I've popped some online on our weather page, and I've also done a few tweets throughout the day. So thank you.
Oh, thank you, Kerry. Well, that's just about it from Calendar for tonight on what has been a day of disruption for the region after all of that snow.
Yeah, lots of you will have been working from home perhaps, or had a day off school, but it's not all been bad, has it? There was fun to be had too, and of course, some lovely pictures. We're going to leave you tonight with some of those scenes of a memorable day in the Yorkshire Dales for one couple. Do have a great weekend. We'll see you again on Monday at 6. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Who needs a sledge when you've got a bag full of ice?
We need to let them out and come rain or snow.
But we are making the most of it. You've got to, haven't you?
It's a bit nice, and you get to play snowballs and you get to make snowmen.
Yes, of course. Absolutely, 100%.